it looked like we're back again, and here's the third segment of our show come to closing of the 2019, going in 2020, but again, a major issue. Because back in my days, it was kind of like, okay, fine, I enlisted in the Marine Corps, and I went through that structured kind of a situation, and then naturally my life reflected that, and a lot of us reflected that way during that particular time. There's no draft now at this point in time, and we're in the tech kind of a deal, and a lot of folks were kind of like gotten into the tech part aspect of it, and I was not a part of that, you know what I mean? But the fact of the matter is, these are the futures, you know. We got to look at futures, and that's one thing we are here at the Oregon Voters Digest. We made sure we spent quite a bit of time in that arena, and I was fortunate to have met with some of the young folks that were out there, Antifa and Patriot Prayer. Joy Gibson, that was Joy Gibson and the Patriot Prayer aspect of it. And then I met my dear friend Brady here, sitting right here. And then there was Patrick and just a number of folks. And then I naturally had the opportunity to meet with James, another person who happens to be in L.A., Los Angeles, and very familiar with some of the issues that are similar to the issues that we're having here and around the country, for that matter.
I've been to Portland before.
You've been to Portland before. But I'm just saying, but you know, the issue was all across the board routine.
Yes.
And as you know, my dear friend Brady, he's got his brand on right now, and he's got another piece of the brand. Now, I remember that. That was a pretty good movie, by the way. I mean, I remember that. I remember the movie.
Very good lesson in that movie.
Yeah, very much so. So anyway, what we're going to do, we're going to go on and jump right into their comments in terms of what they felt about 2019 and what the movement was all about. In fact, and let's start off that way from their standpoint. What was the purpose? What do you think? If I were to ask you, what was the purpose of the movement from your perspective?
Which movement?
And Antifa,
the climate, the weather,
the climate of the young folks. I mean, millennial type.
I think it's just a response to white nationalism and this rise of white supremacy, sort of again, like back in the 1960s. But you know, I don't want to veer off topic, but the last time I was here with James on the phone, I reintroduced him because, you know, in some way I actually wanted Patrick and James on at the same time, because these are people who have actually been completely sidelined by Patriot Prayer. Joey's ignored Patrick. I think he's pretty much ignored you. And yeah, I don't really know.
With the exception of the one phone call I received. That was the last time I talked to Joey Gibson. No, I found myself in a situation where I was brought up here, transferred from Los Angeles to work at KXL FM, and I was supposed to be a new evening news anchor for the city of Portland, during which time the feds approached me, and they had this idea that they wanted somebody, a reporter, embedded with Patriot Prayer. I use air quotes because that encompasses multiple groups, whether it's Proud Boys or Haley Adams and her Portland's Resistance and so forth. And very quickly it became extremely evident that from reaching out to like contacts on the left and hearing and seeing what was going on the right, and then the Fed involvement and everything, being very evident, very clear, very quick, that the feds were stoking this fire, like above and beyond what is safe to say.
So what's the definition of the feds?
FBI, DHS, some of those organizations. Last time we were on, we actually left off talking about that subject. I was going to go into the fact that Haley Adams and Alyssa, their Portland's Liberation in front of Ted Wheeler's house, their most recent rally in front of Ted Wheeler's house, there was a guy who got picked up because of red flag laws. He said he was going to find out where Antifa lives if they start getting killed off and slaughter them essentially in their bedrooms. He got picked up by the feds. He got his guns taken away. He got admitted into a psych ward. And this is somebody who did 2 tours of duty, I think, in Afghanistan.
You have a situation here where the feds are telling, let's say, the right, Patriot Prayer, as an example, everything's fine, go to this event, you'll all be safe, we checked it out, we've got people there now, plain clothes, it's all going to be fine, no confrontations, Meanwhile, they're on the phone with Antifa saying the exact same things. and then the two groups arrive, and then it's like, whoa, wait, you're stalking us. No, you're stalking us. And then clash, and the police are removed. It's like assassinations, Bruce. They're not, they don't happen, they're allowed to happen. JFK, RFK, Princess Diana, the security is removed at the right moment, and it's allowed to happen. Just like the police are removed at the right moment, and these clashes in downtown Portland are allowed to happen.
Who's responsible for that?
The FBI.
Federal government, to some extent, for
Yes.
sure.
Yes. I mean, deep state, whatever you want to call it. Another component is the fake news. I can say, is having been in the KXL newsroom, there was, by the time my reports got a little too truthful, let's say, there's a gag order immediately placed over the newsroom. Shortly thereafter, I lost my job, and shortly thereafter, I was ostracized and told to leave the Patriot hemisphere as a reporter, and was glad to do so because so many of them had such terrible personalities that, I mean, it left a lot to be desired to have to put up with it on a daily basis and get paid next to nothing, and then nothing, and then and just watch. It's like Groundhog Day. It's like we woke up every day and it was the same thing every day, and the same spiel and the same trickery and the same everything. And KXL is a CBS affiliate. The parent company is Alpha Media. They basically own all the radio stations here in Portland and have their sister affiliations with the right television networks. So essentially, what's coming up in 2020, I would say, as an independent investigative journalist in Los Angeles, like right now, for example, I'm up here investigating of my own merit the death of a journalist, a colleague for 20 years. Her name is Tracy Twyman. She was an executive producer at KXL FM for many years of the Clyde Lewis Show. She was recently suicided, and it is now, I think, actually suicided. Yeah, we have this mounting pile of bodies of journalists, and that's a problem. It's a big one. And the last place, matter of fact, that she was seen trying to give information in regard to an investigation she was conducting about pedophilia, the Jeffrey Epstein case and everything, she took it to the Portland FBI. That's one of the last good known places she was seen alive, and she was scared for her life, and they're saying that she hung herself. Well, I'm not ready to reveal because I haven't concluded my own investigation yet, so I'm not ready to reveal the gory details, but let's just say it is an active homicide investigation. It's in Vancouver, Washington, not Portland. There's some confusion about that. Portland's pointing the finger saying it's Vancouver, Vancouver's Portland, and no, it's Vancouver, it's Clark County Sheriff's Department, and it is still an ongoing investigation, even though the little tiny bit you find on the internet says suicide, hanging, a lot of internet lore and fantasy then kicks into play, and I think it's very inappropriate and it's sad. Just a month ago, another journalist in California, Jennifer Janes, was suicided, shot in the head twice, ruled suicide. She was working on a controversial book attacking the medical industry, the pharmaceutical industry. So when I was in 2013 living in Hollywood and Michael Hastings died, his car exploded 2 blocks down the street from my apartment in Hollywood. Mercedes, especially brand new ones, don't just explode at 25, 30 miles an hour on Highland Avenue in Hollywood, California.
Let's touch on how the media has actually kind of touched on our local politics and our national politics a bit, because we talked about this on the phone quite a bit, on how to tackle fake news. We've talked about maybe a non-profit watchdog organization sort of existing. We've talked about, fact checkers or something akin to that. I mean, there's got to be a better way, because we don't have decent protections for that here in America compared to, I think, other countries. They've figured it out a little bit better. But this is where I do kind of want to go into a segment with my mask here, is This is the Guy Fawkes mask. It's banned in a few different countries. It's been in multiple protests because of that. Things like the Arab Spring, stuff like that. And it's a very revolutionary symbol. And we know after the Andy Ngo attack at one of these protests, these patriots, these same group of people have advocated for anti-mask laws. I don't really believe that's going to work out. It's not going to stop street violence. It's not going to stop gang violence. But, I mean, this is the larger scenario with the media now because there's an information warfare kind of thing going on. Mm-hmm. We look at the Clock of Atomic Scientists and what it says on the 2 minutes to midnight. They put that in there, information warfare.
It's also important to know that not just the fake news apparatus, which is massive would be an understatement. I come from a CBS pioneering family. We at one time owned the LA Times, my family. So I know what I'm saying when I'll repeat a quote from my grandfather when I was a child. Don't believe anything you hear and half of what you read. And he's talking about our own affiliates and things. And for a long time as a youth, I just sort of brushed that off as if, what, you know, there he goes being weird and all that again. But no, it's true. Los Angeles, there's a joke there. Hollywood is the fourth branch of government. There's also another more crude joke that Washington, D.C. is Hollywood for ugly people. And the deep-rootedness of the news, I don't even think it's fair to say it's, oh, CNN, oh, Fox. It's more like Sinclair Broadcasting is your megalithic conservative outlet. Maybe you could say MSNBC's on the left, or NBC Universal, the parent company. Perhaps you could maybe try to say CNN is centrist, at least in its set decor and casting. But the point is that all this is written, it's fed to them on teleprompters, and that is not journalism. Local journalists like Andy Ngo and Brandon Farley and people like that who show a bias and engage
Project Veritas.
Yeah, and engage in ambush journalism that Mike Wallace invented back in the day in 60 Minutes, who my grandfather cast that and created that show. It's frowned upon. It's not journalistically, ethically sound.
They cut content, and it turns into a Joe Biggs scenario.
Well, look, guys, in all due respect, again, as you say, this is 2019. You guys are going to be right back here in 2020 because I'm interested. We're very interested in terms of will there be light at the end of the tunnel? Do you see any idea of some idea of a light at the end of the tunnel that says, "Hey, look here, things are going to get back together," so to speak? Okay, so keep that in mind. And secondly, how do we get in touch with someone real quick? Give me a phone number.
Crusade Media.
CrusadeMedia.org.
On PDX Live on YouTube.
Okay, good. So look here, we sort of ended the show, folks. Here we are again. And as you can see, 2019 is not over with, but we have some ideas.